The attorney for those people falsely arrested says they plan to file a lawsuit here in the state of Florida, but the damages would be capped at $200,000. So they're also going to file a federal lawsuit where they can go after a lot more money.
And that's what I was falsely charged for, trafficking of heroin.
Matthew Kroll is part of a growing list of people suing the Martin County Sheriff's Office and former Deputy Stephen O'Leary for wrongful arrest, false imprisonment, and more.
He showed me a picture of the field test kit that he supposedly conducted on his phone. He never actually showed me the field test kit.
Kroll says in his case, turns out he only had laundry detergent. This arrest affidavit written up by Deputy O'Leary says the field test was positive for heroin. O'Leary was fired for making drug-related arrests based on substances that turned out weren't drugs at all.
The moment we knew something was wrong, we moved as fast as we could to mitigate the damage.
Charges were later dropped against the people wrongfully arrested, but the damage was already done. Attorney Lance Richard is representing 20 of the victims.
This officer made up bogus claims and said there were drugs when none existed, arrested my clients, threw them in jail, high bonds, created phony charges, and the devastation has had a lasting effect.
He says the drug field test policy at the time of the bogus arrests is part of the reason it was so easy for O'Leary.
The arresting officer would field test the alleged contraband and then make the arrest having probable cause. They would place the contraband in evidence, and then it would not get tested by a laboratory until months or even years later.
We reached out to the Martin County Sheriff's Office for comment on their field drug testing policy. They declined to comment. Reporting live in Martin County, I'm AJ Walker, CBS 12 News. Mike Jones is just one of the homeless people living in Curry Park. And if you don't leave, what happens?
You go to jail.
Rodriguez Allen agrees and says police are quick to push them out of the park. Do they arrest you if you're here after dark?
They say after the sunset, the park is closed. If anybody is caught out here after sunset, they will be arrested.
But police tell CBS 12 News clearing out the parks at night is a delicate process.
We not only have a humanitarian effort in place to help them find whatever we can or help the resources, find the resources for them, we also just don't arrest them for being out there, after dark.
Deputy Chief of Police Richard Morris says officers don't target homeless people camping out in the park to clear it out. But he says they have to enforce the law. When the sun goes down, everyone, including the homeless people, needs to leave.
If there's a violation of the law, no matter who it is, we're going to enforce it.
But as far as where they will go, Deputy Chief Morris can't supply an answer for that because right now there isn't one.
There is no shelter within the city. There is no shelter within the county. So if the officers are then coming around and asking them to leave, or they can be arrested for trespassing, where can they go? That's just the bottom.
That's a problem. That's a problem countywide.
Rodriguez spends his days in Curry Park, but at night. Rodriguez, I want you to show me where you sleep. So where do you sleep? Is this where you sleep over here?
This is the seawall right here. After we leave this here park, after sunset, we come down here and we lay, it's like maybe 3 or 4 of us that sleep down here.
He says he would rather sleep in the park.
Because you got grass and it's much safer. And then, you don't want to fall off the wall into the water.
With no shelter in the city and no solution in sight, both the homeless and the police do agree on one thing.
This is going to be a total community effort. Law enforcement's not going to be able to do it by themselves. There's no way. It's going to take every resource available because the problem is not going away.
In West Palm Beach, AJ Walker, CBS 12 News. She doesn't want us to use her name, so for the purposes of this story, we'll call her Kristen. Kristen says for 10 years, the stranger who brutally raped her was able to walk the streets and rape again. She says he was actually in prison for raping someone else when a DNA sample was taken that identified him as the man who raped her.
A figure came into my doorway, which was open, and he flashed a flashlight in my face, so I couldn't see. And then he came at me. It was a pillowcase that was put over my head, and I think like packing tape was wrapped around my face and my mouth. So screaming was much more difficult. I know I touched his face. That was the only thing I had to go on when they asked me what he might look like. Something was wrapped around my head. I was tied up, and he raped me.
When this is happening to you, did you think that you would make it out of this?
No. He had a knife. He kind of poked it into me a few times.
What got him off of you? Like, did you kick him off? Did he just run away? What got him off you?
He was done. I don't know how to word that. He raped me and he got up.
The mystery man who attacked Kristen left as quickly as he appeared, leaving her battered, bruised, and emotionally shattered. She had no hope of ever getting justice until her rapist struck again and went to prison for raping someone else, which broke Kristen's cold case wide open.
How many years had gone by since he violated you and when he was caught and they found a DNA match?
10.
10 long years.
Yes.
What was it like for you during that 10 years of waiting, never even knowing who did this to you?
It was awful. It could have been anyone. So, you know, I was constantly on alert.
Kristen says that's why the testing of rape kits is so important.
It's such a horrible thing to go through. You've already been through the most horrible thing you can think of, and then you're at the hospital with the glaring lights and the doctors and people, and you have to go through such a humiliating test. So if you go through all that, for love of God, test it, you know, because that's the only way that I got the justice that I got. It's the only way that he was stopped.
Kristen says the man who raped her was supposed to spend 25 years in prison, but he only ended up serving 10 years. Reporting live in St. Lucie County, I'm AJ Walker, CBS 12 News. You know, the woman reached out to us after seeing our story on Friday. Now she wants to make everybody aware of this scam so they don't become a victim. Now, the reason this scam is so successful is because it preys on people who are already in financial trouble and desperate for money.
But I needed the money to pay these bills. And I thought this man was legit and was going to help us.
June Smoot needed help getting back on her feet after fighting the hardest battle of her life, breast cancer. Now she's battling the mountain of debt that has come along with treatment.
$2,226.32.
And that's just one bill.
Right.
She applied online to what she thought was a legitimate loan company and got a call from a man posing as a loan officer.
He scammed me.
The man claimed she was approved for a $10,000 loan and said the company would start depositing money into her bank account.
He says, you'll have your $10,000 in 3 days.
Why did you feel like it was legitimate?
He just had me convinced. He asked me what bank. I told him. He asked me my account number, my track, and then he told me did I have mobile online banking.
Right away, she saw her bank account increase by $2,300. She didn't know that would soon change. The fake loan officer had required she take out $2,000 of the money they had just deposited and put it on Walmart gift cards. He said this was all part of their loan process. All of it happened over the phone. She never stepped foot into a bank.
In 3 days, I was almost $2,500 in the hole.
Turns out the deposit came from 2 checks that turned out to be fraudulent. It had been made electronically. That's why he had initially required she set up mobile banking.
It's people like him who take advantage of people like us, and we have to be careful.
Experts warn you should wait until a deposit clears before spending it, and be leery of any company who asks you to pay them with a gift card. June did fill out an incident report here at the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, but those people are likely long gone. Reporting live in St. Lucie County, I'm AJ Walker, CBS 12 News.
All right, thanks.